What's up you guys, it's the #1 What If YouTuber legend. We are back with What If Naruto was sent to the Jujutsu Kaisen Universe Part 3. So far this seems to be the last part. I read the author notes and it said something about people sending the guy hate mail cause he made Naruto a second year. Yeah, people are weird and dumb sometimes. I'm not gonna say this is the end cause he might come back and upload, but yeah. Like goal is 6 likes and let's get into the video after this. Naruto laid down lazily on the training grounds, staring up at the clouds with an amount of lethargy that is more suited to Inara than the energetic Uzumaki. Shikamaru did have a point. Laying down and doing nothing while staring at the clouds was relaxing as fuck. It was relaxing, at least until a stick poked him in the leg. With an annoyed scowl, Naruto simply looked down, only to look up once again to look at a tall, pretty girl with green eyes and golden eyes with glasses. "Who are you?" she demanded with narrowed eyes. She was wearing an outfit that was seemingly designed for exercise and for the early morning cold. It didn't take long for him to figure out who this was. He wasn't exactly sharp, but he wasn't exactly stupid either. Yuji, Megumi, and Nobara were the only first years, from what Gojo told him. That would mean that this girl must be a second year or above. With a sigh, he answered lazily, "Yo, I'm Uzumaki Naruto, the new second year." She raised an elegant eyebrow. "New second year? I didn't know we were getting a new one," she replied coolly, crossing her arms. "Yeah, I didn't know I was joining until last night either," Naruto grumbled. He didn't get much sleep last night, having spent quite a while making sure Kurama was alright and also dealing with nightmares about the war. According to the ancient Biju, his best theory as to what was happening is that he didn't belong in this world. Naruto was human, meaning that his chakra was safely in his body in its circulatory system, and therefore, he can hang around and use his chakra without feeling any different from before. Kurama, on the other hand, was a being made purely of chakra. This place, not having any chakra whatsoever, was, in essence, a chakra vacuum, and as soon as his chakra physically manifested into this world through KCM, it was doing what a vacuum does. Sucking out chakra. It was probably why he was having trouble with KCM. The chakra got evaporated into this chakra vacuum of a world, and it would continue to unless he could come up with a solution. Fun. Thankfully, chakra wasn't like a battery, so Kurama can regenerate the chakra he lost quite quickly, and there, realistically, shouldn't be any worries about Kurama running out of chakra. Instantly, her whole demeanor changed. "Satoru didn't tell you anything, did he?" she guessed. "Yep," Naruto replied, staring at her curiously. "Does that happen often?" "All the time," she replied, sighing with irritation. "I'm Zenin Maki, but don't call me by my last name." "Uzumaki, is it? Are you any good?" she asked, crossing her arms and looking down at him judgmentally. Naruto let out another sigh, making her eye twitch. That was the second sigh he let out in her presence. "Very," he replied honestly, in you guys' terminology. "I would be considered a special grade," he said nonchalantly. "Underselling yourself, aren't you, Naruto? You're way beyond a special grade." "Yeah, but she doesn't need to know that, yet. Impressing pretty girls is fun, and the best way to do it is through surprise. You realize that she'll probably be asked to keep an eye on you." Naturally, I get the feeling that Satoru isn't the trusting type, no matter how childish he comes off as. Neither is the principal. The whole age thing is complete bullshit. Do you think the old man told him before he told Satoru about us? I don't know, maybe. Difficult to guess right now. Another one, Maki thought in surprise. That would be the second special grade sorcerer in among the second years, including Yuta, who was overseas right now. Then she processed the rest of his sentence. What do you mean, by our terminology? You're one of us, she said, confused but intrigued. Ah, you've met Naruto. Maki let out a surprised noise while Naruto barely glanced at Satoru, who suddenly teleported behind Maki, grinning brightly. Morning, Maki-chan. I'm sure he's already said, but Naruto here is your new second-year student. Damn it, stop doing that, and don't call me Chan, Maki said with a scowl, and why didn't we second years know about a new student? This is a new low, even for you, she insulted him. Naruto's sweat dropped. This girl seems to have no respect for Satoru or his power. Don't blame her. He might have ulterior motives, but his facade is annoying as hell. Maki-chan, Satoru whined, crocodile tears flowing down his cheeks. You're so mean to me. In front of my new student, no less. It's all right, Maki-san. He didn't really know he was getting me as a student until yesterday, Naruto said cautiously, his instincts, honed from being around scary women right from the womb, warning him that he should make sure to never piss off this girl. What? Maki said, blinking in confusion. That's not how it works. Teachers are notified when a new student is being enrolled weeks in advance. Then she narrowed her eyes, turning to look at both of them. Explain, she demanded. I like this girl, brat. She reminds me of old lady Tsunade, kinda. Hopefully, she doesn't have a bad temper. I will. I'm just waiting for the other two to join us, Satoru chirped. Huh, both first years and second years would have had only 3 members if I hadn't joined, Naruto asked curiously. There are 4 of us second years. One of us, Okatsu Yuta, is overseas, Maki explained as 2 others, a walking panda, and a short boy with light hair joined them, there. Now explain, Maki said before Naruto could question the presence of the panda. Sure, but first, introductions. Naruto-kun, this is Inamaki Toge-kun and Panda-kun tilde. Toge-kun, Panda-kun, this is Uzumaki Naruto-kun. He's a ninja with a really lame verbal tic, Satoru said brightly, performing jazz hands while motioning to Naruto, who glared at him. Hey, I'll have you know the girls in my village found my tic adorable datbeo, Naruto yelled in protest. Ninja, Maki asked sharply. Tuna mayo, Toge raised an eyebrow, glancing at the blonde ninja. Naruto quirked an eyebrow at him. He asked exactly what Maki asked. Panda supplied helpfully, fully expecting the reaction. The panda talked datbeo. Naruto's eyes bugged out, darting over to Panda and circling around him. Holy shit, I'm not tripping. How can you talk? That's so cool. Naruto basically had stars in his eyes as he patted the fur on Panda's shoulder, making the second-year sweat drop. Satoru laughed as Maki turned to him. He's a ninja, she asked skeptically. Not just a ninja, he's a ninja from a completely different world from ours, Satoru said, expecting the gasps of shock, which is why he paused, but they never came. Obviously, this was Maki, Toge, and Panda. All of them are calm as can be. Tuna, Toge deadpanned skeptically. This guy's a ninja, yeah, right. Right, Maki sighed, before turning to Naruto, who finally backed off from Panda realizing that he was uncomfortable with the poking and questions. I don't suppose you'll tell us who you really are. Naruto turned to her, and grinned. What makes you think he's lying? It's Satoru, Maki deadpanned as if that explained everything. Salmon. Huh, are you hungry? Naruto asked, blinking at the boy. Toge is a cursed speech user, meaning that anything he says is amplified with cursed energy, so those he speaks to will be compelled to do as he says. Panda paused in this explanation. Looking at the, what the hell are you talking about? Look in Naruto's eyes, and realized that he was dealing with an idiot, so he simplified, basically, if he says, stop. you will stop dead in your path. If he says, blast away, you will be blasted away. You get the idea. To make sure he doesn't hurt anyone around him, he uses onigiri ingredients to express what he wants to say. Oh damn, that's cool. Tuna mayo. Toge smiled. Uzumaki, answer my question. Maki seems to be losing patience fast. Oh, right, yeah, I'm from a different world. I'm a ninja, a super strong one, believe it. Anyway, I was fighting in a war against this ancient rabbit woman in a different dimension. It was really fucking weird. She stroked my cheek and called me her son, which was weird, but she was kinda hot though. What was I saying? Oh, right, another dimension. I fought the rabbit lady with my friends, but on my way back home, something went wrong, and I ended up here. Naruto said as if it was completely normal. All of them, excluding Satoru, who already heard this from old man Hikaru, stared at Naruto like he grew a second pair of arms. They all turned to look at Satoru. It's true. He can exorcise curses without having any cursed energy, and with a single attack, no less, he said, smiling. Benito flakes, Toge said with a frown, looking perplexed. What? That's impossible, Panda said, furrowing his brows. Maki, who had no cursed energy, had to use cursed tools to exorcise curses. Yet this stranger can exorcise them without any cursed energy. Get out. Well, one thing was true, Panda couldn't sense any cursed energy coming from Naruto. I guess this might be a bit difficult for you guys to believe. Hell, I don't believe it myself, not completely. But it's all true. In my world, we don't have cursed energy, jujutsu, or any curses whatsoever. Naruto said, his mood going down a bit, remembering that he could never go back to his world. That would be the world. Satoru mused inwardly, though judging from what I've heard from Yaga, his world seems just as bad as ours. Prove it, Maki challenged. Alright, but how? Naruto asked. Show us a ninja trick, Satoru said brightly, looking at Naruto expectantly. This might be good enough to appease those shitty old men for now. Naruto put his hand to his chin in thought, wondering which of his techniques would be cool and flashy enough to impress and convince them at the same time. I don't mind. His eyes trailed over the three students, then Satoru, then back to the students before settling on Maki, who tensed, as if she was expecting an attack. With a sly grin, he made the hand signs dog right pointing arrow boar right pointing arrow ram, henge. He exclaimed. A large plume of smoke covered Naruto, making the students back away in surprise and caution. They moved towards Satoru a bit, who had actually taken off his blindfold, revealing Limitless and Six Eyes, to observe the process closer. As I expected, no cursed energy flare. Oh, what's this? He thought in surprise when blue-colored energy flared up. This must be chakra. Damn, Hikaru is right. This is not formed by negative energy, it's pure, and it seems to come from within his body. My, what an enigma, Satoru thought with a grin. As the smoke settled, the second years couldn't help but let out shocked gasps, even Maki. Why, in Naruto's place, where he stood mere seconds ago, was another Maki, completely identical to the original, glasses and all. Both Toge and Panda couldn't repress the shiver when the doppelganger grinned, wide and bright. Does that convince you? The transformed Naruto asked, revealing that it doesn't just look like Maki, but sounds like her too. Maki walked over to her look-alike cautiously, looking her over closely. It truly was an identical copy of her, not a single hair out of place. How? She asked in disbelief. Believe it, her look-alike grinned. This, she motioned to her transformed body, is one of the most basic techniques we're taught in our ninja academy. It's called Henge no Jutsu. It lets us transform into anything we want. It can be a person. The transformed Naruto paused to make the hand signs again, turning into an exact copy of Toge, with the tattoos around the mouth, or animal. Hugh turning into an exact copy of Panda, or even an object. He finished, transforming himself into Satoru's blindfold, which fell to the floor before Naruto reappeared in a plume of smoke. Impressive, Satoru commented. Salmon. This is nothing, Naruto said cockily. Can your transformations use their abilities? Like, can you use Toge's cursed speech if you turned into him? Panda asked curiously. Nah, it's just the looks. It's actually an illusion. If someone touches me while I'm transformed, I'll transform back. Naruto replied, preening under the odd looks on their faces. Anyway, I came here to introduce you guys and to let you know that you guys have a mission. Finish up your morning routines and be prepared. Naruto, try not to destroy the building this time if you don't mind. Satoru said, grinning cheekily at the embarrassed blonde. Yeah, sorry about that, he sheepishly said, rubbing the back of his head. After Satoru left, Panda and Toge, well, just Panda, asked Naruto many questions, which the ninja was more than happy to answer. Maki occasionally pitched him, clearly wanting to know more about his abilities, while Toge was just very impressed by the Henge no Jutsu. Thinking about all the ways he and his new friend could mess with people. A shiver went up the spines of all the students in the school, as Maki and Panda gave an innocent-looking Toge a wary glance. So what can you do, Uzumaki-san? Panda asked as they helped Naruto out with the vending machine. Call me Naruto, and as to what I can do, well, a lot of my more powerful attacks need a lot of space. They're kinda destructive and were made with the aim to kill. I'll show you guys if we meet a curse that needs it. Naruto said as he accepted a canned drink from Toge. I thought ninjas used tools, Maki remarked as Naruto stretched, placing his drink on the ground. We do, kunai and shuriken are standard, but many like to use swords and staffs too. One of the leaders of my village used this sword called Raijin no Ken that could manipulate lightning. Naruto commented, making her eyes widen. Damn, do you have it by any chance? She asked, trying not to come off as too eager. Nah, it broke. He replied, damn shame too, it was really cool. I bet. She grumbled, alright, Uzumaki, let's spar. If I'm gonna work with you, I need to know what you can do. What are you good at? Naruto thought about it. Well, my specialty is trickery and ninjutsu. That's basically some really flashy attacks, he explained at their confused looks. I'm pretty good at hand-to-hand combat, and I can use a sword, kinda. Oh, I'm really fast too. Well, we have a lot of hand-to-hand combatants. Panda remarked, myself, Fushiguro Megumi, Maki, and a third year are pretty good at hand-to-hand. I'll stick to ninjutsu then, Naruto said after a moment of thought. Kurama, what do you think I should do? Using my power seems to be something you can do for a very limited period of time in this world. I would say you get better at taijutsu and using weapons, infusing your wind chakra into swords and such would be good for you. If I infuse my chakra into a weapon, then wouldn't this world just suck it out like it does your cloak? You're right, but you can use it for a brief moment. For example, if you need a very hard hit at a moment's notice, then you can infuse your chakra to a blade at the right moment. The same goes for my cloak. Mustard leaf, Toge asked him, noticing that he hadn't spoken for almost 30 seconds. Huh, Naruto blinked. He's asking if you're okay, Maki grunted, performing her own stretches and warm-ups. Oh, yeah, I'm fine. I was just having a conversation with my tenant, Naruto said, deciding to just be frank about it. Tenant. Yeah, he lifted his shirt to show them the 8 trigrams seal on his navel that contained the most powerful tailed beast. In this seal is the Kyuubi no Kitsune. The most powerful tailed beast and one of the most powerful beings of my world. Kyuubi, Maki paused, turning to look at him, it's a legend in our world. And a demon. She commented lightly, though her golden eyes were wary. He also didn't miss the equally wary looks in Panda and Toge's eyes. The Kyuubi in my world isn't a demon, it's a being made out of chakra. Its power is frightening and made people believe he's a demon, but he's mostly an okay guy. A bit grumpy, but a nice guy, Naruto said, grinning when he felt the Biju's irritation through their link. Huh, said Maki and Panda, while Toge just processed the information before shrugging. Anyway, he tells me that I shouldn't rely on his power too much, so I hope you guys don't mind if I practice my hand-to-hand with you, Naruto said hopefully. Not at all, Panda said, grinning. We could always use a practice dummy, Maki mused. Salmon. Naruto's sweat dropped at their identical evil looks, no mercy, huh? Well, good for you, I wouldn't either, he said. Sparring with Maki, Panda, and Toge was a new experience. Their styles were similar to what he encountered in his own world, and he found that he could easily hang with them. One thing he learned was that Maki's physical strength was on par with Yuji, and while it was nothing he couldn't deal with, it still surprised him. He asked Kurama if she legit didn't have any chakra in her body because it was something he was truly surprised by. He didn't go overboard though, making sure to keep his level on par with her so they could spar on equal footing. Panda's physical strength wasn't really surprising, though Toge's flexibility and stamina took him aback a bit. Maki wasn't flexible though, she was as stiff as a brick. He supposed it wasn't really an issue because of her fighting style, which mainly involved weapons. On the flip side, Toge was a gymnast, it looked like. His fighting style mainly involved his voice, so dodging and running should be something he should be good at, and he was. Panda was a physically imposing fighter, but was also very quick too, despite his size. Much like an actual bear. Speaking of weapons, Naruto borrowed a katana from Satoru, who was happy to give it to him if it meant that Naruto wouldn't bust out his more powerful attacks. A Rasengan would do the trick, but busting out a Rasengan every time he encountered a curse would be a pain in the ass, especially if they're weak. Like that curse that his clone encountered with Yuji, or even that cunning curse he encountered with Nobara. Neither of them was powerful, but only a Rasengan would do the trick on them. The sword itself was nothing special. It's just a simple, well-crafted blade that would do the trick and wouldn't break or degrade easily. It gave off the same vile energy that the rest of the weapons do, meaning that it was what one would call a cursed tool. Maki specialized in these. Sparring with Maki made him realize that his kenjutsu wasn't really that impressive. Maki was willing to help him correct it in the future though. Satoru cornered Maki as she was just about ready to leave. What do you want, Satoru? She demanded, scowling, which quickly vanished when she saw the serious expression on his face. Something wrong? No, nothing's wrong, per se, Satoru said, pausing as he lowered his voice. I know I said all of you were going together on this mission, and while that hasn't changed, I have a special, unofficial mission for you, a mission within a mission, you could say. For me, Maki asked, raising an eyebrow. That's unorthodox. It is, Satoru agreed, smiling a bit. I'll be blunt. Your mission is to, essentially, spy on Naruto. What? Maki asked, blinking in surprise. I don't. No, listen to me completely, Satoru said seriously, and Maki nodded. Naruto is a wild card. We've only encountered one of his kind before, and even he was an accidental arrival. The reason why I'm asking you to keep an eye on him is that we don't know the true extent of his power. He can't be that powerful, he doesn't look like much, Maki remarked, brow furrowing. Maki-chan, I thought you've learned this lesson before. We shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Satoru grinned when he saw her scowl, a small tinge of pink appearing on her face at the reminder of how she treated Yuta when they first met him. Anyway, Naruto's power is nothing to scoff at. Remember when I said he could exorcise a curse with a single attack? He waited for her to nod before saying, that was a first grade. He smirked at her shocked reaction. Yeah, and in his own words. That was the most basic variant of his signature attack. Plus, we've been told by our informant that this Kyuubi that's sealed in him has power that can rival the gods themselves. And Naruto has access to this. He paused to let her process this. Quote. Okay, but if he's on our side, then we shouldn't have to worry. He doesn't seem like a bad guy, Maki said slowly. From what I've seen, I agree. Satoru nodded, but he's a ninja, and it's like taking the ninjas of our history and ramping it up by 100. They specialize in deception, assassination, espionage, and many other things. In their world, they're trained ever since they were children to essentially become human weapons for their village. While I don't think he's putting up an act, it wouldn't entirely be surprising. Satoru said grimly. Maki doesn't think she's ever seen Satoru this serious. He must really be worried about Naruto if he's actually being serious about it. Could that be true? Naruto doesn't seem like a bad guy, an idiot, sure, but not necessarily a bad person. Quite the opposite, actually. But again, that could be her judging a book by its cover, as she did with Yuta. I'm not asking you to fight him, actually, I'm pretty sure it won't come to that. Don't distrust him, either, just keep an eye on him. Try to learn more about his powers, if you can. If you see anything that makes you believe that he's a threat or against us in any way, tell me. Satoru finished. Okay, Maki agreed. It was easy enough. Just keep an eye on him, and tell Satoru about anything weird that she sees. Simple enough, but why are you only telling me? If you're worried about him, then why not tell Toge and Panda about him, too? She asked. Satoru sighed. Look, I'm gonna come off as a real weirdo when I say this, but bear with me. It's because you're a girl, he said bluntly. What? She demanded, her eye twitching in irritation. This is the one time I agree with the elders. Naruto might be more inclined to share more about himself and his techniques to a pretty face, especially if said pretty face asked him nicely. Satoru explained. Though his grin gave him away as she growled, I'm kidding. But the basics of it are true, just casually ask him to show off, and he most likely will. He's a teenager. And if he isn't straight? Maki asked flatly, looking very irritated about this. Then I'll ask Toge-kun, Satoru replied. Fine, Maki sighed, what do I get out of this? I'll see what I can do about promoting you against the Zenin clan's wishes, Satoru replied instantly. Maki grinned, you've got yourself a deal, she said. Excellent, Satoru said, reverting back to his cheerful man-child self, of course, if you somehow end up having to sleep with him. I'll support you 100% of the way. He teleported away right as a dagger shot through where his head was. But guys, this is where it ends. Hit that like and sub button if you enjoy the video. Also stay tuned because I'm posting on my Patreon later. But for now I'm out. Stay blessed guys.